When it feels like you're starting to lose a deal, what's the secret to not losing that deal?
I don't know if there's an answer. You're always trying to figure out what the other person wants and what they can live with, and does that intersect with what you want and what you can live with? Sometimes that's, being tough and saying, this is my line. Other times it's being, that's not, I thought I wanted this. That's not as important. This is really important to you. I think I can live with that. If you gave me some things over here that give me other comfort. So you're always trying to balance and think about, what intersection will work well for both parties. And that can move all over the place. And as I said, you can, believe me, in 8 hours in a conference room, you may think you're going to start here and you end up over here. So there's a lot of time to move around and hopefully reset in a way that works.
Would you be able to give us an example of one of the moments where you thought maybe the deal was dead in the water from your perspective?
There are too many to give. We went on a long time, and I thought for a long time we were not going to get the deal. I can't recall honestly a specific one, but this negotiation went on for many months, and there at various times it just appealed we weren't going to get it. And I suspect, that was in part because there were other bidders, and at various times they may have been putting forth something that CVC thought, that's more attractive. And again, my perception that there were elements in CVC who wanted this and elements in CVC who wanted that. And maybe for one reason or another, some part or some group within CVC was getting more traction on the idea. Let's just sell it all for cash right up front. And then some other group might be getting more traction on the idea that these guys have a plan we can ride on and gain something from. So it was never as, and it often isn't, but particularly in this deal, it was never as clear exactly how we were going to get there and when. It took a lot longer and with more twists and turns than usual.
Is part of the art from your perspective then being comfortable with uncertainty?
I think you have to have that. You have to have some flexibility because it's very easy to say, this is our position. This is what we know we need. This is what we know we want. And there certainly have to be principles and bright lines in your own mind, not necessarily stated, that you cannot, I just can't live with this or that. But in a lot of cases, you can also find out, if I really pressed, is that something that I need? I think I need that. Can I live with a workaround? Is it another way to achieve the same goal that's less direct? So you're always trying to balance those things out.
It feels to me like a real game of chess. You're playing your side and working out the position of your pieces. You're trying to work out where they want their pieces to be. You've then got people not even in the room who own their own pieces, trying to get their pieces on the chessboard to try and win the game over you. I mean, it's so much going on all the time.
It's not just as if it's a two-group negotiation. There are other shareholders. There are other constituents on both sides. They've had a management team in Bernie trying to keep him happy. We have a board of directors. We said we were going this way. Maybe now we're shifting. How do I explain and justify that to them? So there's always about it's not just a chess game with the people in the room. You've got chess game people outside the room. You're thinking about how the capital markets, we were basically going to have a public stock. How are they going to respond to these changes? So there are a lot of calculuses.
Can you take us then to the moment that you knew that this deal was going to happen? What happens there? Is it as simple as CBC say, okay, we've got a deal, or how does that work?
Yeah, eventually. I mean, and you probably wasn't a eureka moment. You're knocking stuff off. You start out with an issues list, which is 30 issues. You get it down to 20 issues. You get it down to 10 issues. You get it down to 5 issues. And there's compromises all along the way. And some of them are, maybe you decided it's not as important. Maybe they've decided it's not as important. Then they can trade this for that, or you can trade that for this. But then they come down to the last few. So I don't know if there was a eureka moment. I think it's more like you go, okay, we're getting to a point where that's probably enough that we can get there.
There must be a moment where you shake hands and you know it's done.
Yes, there definitely was that moment. But I would say when, well before that moment, you think like, I think we can get there.
Would you share with me the moment that the hands got shaken?
I have to say, because it was long and many days, I do think we popped some champagne, but that's I don't recall much more than that.